Yeah, they are listening. Greetings from Costa Rica, folks. Thanks very much for joining us for our live Costa Rica Real Estate Forum, and it's a special one. Chris has just closed on his condo just moments ago. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you, Matt. All because of you.
Well, how was condo closing? Everybody wants to know. The big question is, and let me bring this up here on StreamYard, was the conclusion of your Costa Rica condo closing chaotic or cathartic?
Very calm, very cathartic. Not chaotic at all. Thanks to Matt and the great team he assembled. You got a good buyer, you had a good seller, and a good legal team, and it was just like clockwork.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk to Chris about his condo, which is a Villas Venado condo that you've probably seen already on my channel before. We'll probably talk about the other condo for sale currently at this complex. But more than anything, I want to ask Chris about what he's going to improve about the condo, his plans for outdoor activities, why he chose our area, on and on. We'll get his reviews of what it was like to buy property in Costa Rica, because he's bought properties in other countries. He's definitely an investor and someone with experience, so his insight is incredibly valuable. As I mentioned, this is our Costa Rica Real Estate Forum. We're live every Friday at noon with different topics about Costa Rica real estate, moving here, more on and on. If you like my channel and you want to help out and you won't be able to buy real estate here, do be sure to just like this video, give us a comment, even if it's a couple words, subscribe to the channel, etc. I really, really appreciate it.
Subscriber here for a long time.
Exactly. This is the other component of our angle today. Chris was a Costa Rica Matt fan just like you. And now look at him. He's sitting in his own Costa Rica condo.
Absolutely crazy. For the last 18 months, I was on that side of the camera, interested in Costa Rica, followed Matt's channel. I followed a lot of channels. There's a lot of good channels. Matt's was, to me, was the best for real estate and really taught me a lot about Costa Rica, taught me a lot about the real estate market here and how to set up a company. He had feeds on how to do the purchase, even how to rent a vehicle and so on. Just fabulous. But he also helped me narrow down the area. Yeah. And even, I mean, Guanacaste, Tamarindo down here, beautiful area. Yeah. But for me personally, it got me hooked on Junquillal here. Love it here.
Yeah, this was a happy coincidence where you were a viewer who liked where I am as well, in Junquillal. And what were some of the things that really appealed to you about this area and the community in particular? Why Junquillal?
When I first spoke to you, it was a wider area. It was Tamarindo down to Samara. But in this area, for me, it's a little bit quieter. I got, there's the yoga, the holistic things just south. You got all the surfing just north. You have beach bars. You got Tamarindo. It's only half an hour away if you want the craziness and the parties and the bars. You've got the hiking, the national parks, half an hour away. So you're kind of central to a lot, but it's quiet. I walk out to a beach with me.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's the thing. A lot of people, there are certain people you meet who come to Junquillal and it's immediate, just like, I'm going to be selling this person a condo, because it is a very quiet spot. You don't find that as much in Guanacaste anymore. How does it compare to Turks and Caicos, by the way, where your other condos have been? I don't know for how many years.
I've only been at Turks and Caicos for maybe a year and a half. And when I didn't buy here last year, I bought Turks and Caicos first because I was kind of watching the market here. I love the Caribbean, always have. I like Central America too. Turks and Caicos it's very expensive. Yep. It's a beach vibe. Beautiful, pristine beaches. You have your water sports. The dining is impeccable. The locals are very integrated to the expat community.
Okay.
So it's really nice. Costa Rica, I love because I lived in Nicaragua for 6 months. I love Central America too. It's way more adventurous. I'd say like a little cheaper to live. Mm-hmm. Beautiful expat community. I fell in love with the expat community in San Junquillal when I was here 6 weeks ago. Yep. And the exploration here is incredible. Like I said, it's a stepping stone. I mean, you have to drive a little bit, but you can climb a volcano, you can go zip lining. the surfing here. I don't surf, but I love to watch the surfers.
Yeah,
And then you have Panama and Nicaragua not too far. So it's a stepping stone to a lot of activities.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about the outdoor lifestyle that's available here. Before we get too much further along, I just wanted to ask everybody out there watching right now, especially for my regular fans, you might be able to do this. Who can guess the asking price of Chris's condo? We're sitting in Villas Venado Unit 2 here on the first floor. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,450 or 1,400 square foot condo. You've seen them on my channel before. If you can guess the price, we'll give you a prize or something, or acknowledge you online. That's the prize.
If you've been following Matt for a while, you know it's been listed a few times over the last 2.5 years. You'll also know, if you follow his real estate update, what the price was and where the market is right now. It'll give you a little
Exactly. Yeah, the bonus points if you can guess both the asking price and get within $5,000 of where we actually closed. Anyhow, we'll see if anybody out there knows it. I also wanted to mention we might have any friends of Chris out there. And if you're joining us for the live broadcast, be sure to give us a shout out to Chris and help inflate his ego a little bit too, because it shouldn't be all about me on this channel.
Oh, I'd say most of them are hecklers, waiting for me to stumble.
Yeah.
But cheers to my colleagues and friends.
Yeah, if you want to bring up any embarrassing details about Chris right now, you're more than welcome to post those as well, and we'll just go through them as people bring them up. So I wanted to mention before we got too much further here, we're at Villas Venado. This is condo number 2 here. I'm trying to get this title off. So we can get back to that. There we go. And here we are in our 3D tour of Villas Venado. Folks, this is the 3D tour you can get by visiting CostaRicaMatt.com. We're going to take a trip down really quick. We're actually looking, wow, this is very existential here. We're in a 3D world looking back at Chris's condo. He's over on this porch down here. We're inside, obviously. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, so I actually wanted to get to, this is the porch of the unit next door to us. I want to give everybody a quick walkthrough of what the Villas Venado condos look like. If we were in Chris's condo versus this one, we're sitting over here in the corner. They have this really nice open layout here with the kitchen and living room at the front. They have a 10-foot wide porch on this side. Am I right about 10 feet?
I think bigger. I think a little bit bigger.
Okay, yeah. So it's, the porch is absolutely enormous, which is the, a spectacular feature of these condos. Chris's is out here to the right. This condo, if you want to be Chris's neighbor, is actually for sale at $298,000. Oh, well, anyway, Chris's had a different asking price. But then back here towards the back of the unit, you have both of the bedrooms. Here's the master. I'm sorry, actually, this is the Jack and I went in the wrong door here as I'm, trying to navigate while drinking an Imperial with my left hand. Anyhow, the Villas Venado condos here were built in 2009. They're 1,400 square feet, and they're pretty high quality construction. Here's a question I had not prepared Chris for. This amount, 1,400 square feet, we're about 375 meters from the beach. How much would that cost you in Turks and Caicos? Just out of curiosity.
Almost double.
Okay.
Almost double.
Very cool. Well, and we still are trying not to give away the price. Ooh, we have a winner already, Claude. Congratulations. The asking price was exactly $325,000. Wonderful. Hopefully you were guessing the asking price. Now, who can guess the final price that Chris paid to Joe, our seller who just departed? Let's go back. So anyhow, you had mentioned that you really liked Junquillal because of the access to the wilderness and, to outdoor activities.
I would add the expat community too. There's nice people here. Really nice people.
And you met Alice and Joe over at the Guacamaya. I think one of the greatest things about these small beach communities is that people tend to be pretty open and social and nice. Did you see that?
Oh, I learned so much. And Alice, she's the wife of Bernie, who opened up the Guacamaya Lodge, but she's the one who was the developer of the condos here.
Alice is the sister of Bernie.
Oh, sorry.
It's tough to. They run a hotel together in our town.
I knew that.
Yeah, it's tough to keep it. In fact, it's funny because for the first, I don't know how many years I lived here, I just figured they were married too. You know, it's tough to keep straight. Brother and sister, and they run a hotel together. So you had a good experience with the expats.
Well, when you meet quite a few people and they all have kind of the same message and they're very friendly and you kind of connect the dots of having a good realtor. You know, I'm always looking for a good property manager to manage my place when I'm not here. And all the stars were aligned. So the situation was pretty safe as an investor or somebody who wants to live here part-time. And it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great people.
Yeah, that's one of the top reasons people end up citing as why they bought. Lots of times it's Costa Ricans are the friendliest people on earth. Excuse me, we're obviously enjoying a couple here. But also, yeah, the expats in these beach communities can be great.
What's interesting in Turks and Caicos, the local community is a little more integrated to the expat community. You can't really tell the difference. Mm-hmm. It's a smaller community here, and I'm very new here. I've really seen the expat community, but I haven't seen how much integrated the local community might be to the expat community.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, especially in the beach areas in Guanacaste, you've got these rural families who are mainly focused on cattle ranching from 1920 until 1990. And yeah, the reason that Guanacaste developed wasn't by and large that a lot of these families were willing to sell their beachside farms. You know, they didn't need the land next to the beach super cheap. The beaches weren't part, you know, this wasn't a strong surfing, you know, really like there wasn't that Ohana connection with the ocean in Guanacaste. It was mainly, basically, this was the homestead area of Costa Rica where a lot of people came out to get their first ever farm for their family, but they had to give away free land, you know, to really get people to populate the area in the first place. I'm sorry, not in the first place. Bad statement. To get people to move out here after the Great Depression, they were offering free land in Guanacaste. And as a result, it was cattle ranching, agriculture, etc. In Junquillal, you would have had 5 or 6 family farmers. Some of them sold their land, 20 years ago, and you've got now all of that expat development. Really, because the expats wanted the beach, loved it. This was, prime real estate, whereas, Guanacaste was something completely different.
I will say though that from the locals I've met so far, everybody's very friendly. Yeah. But bueno, hola, and the families are out on the weekend. They're at the beach, and everywhere you go, so friendly.
Oh, absolutely. So what are a few of let's talk first about the condo and indoor activities. What are the first 3 things you're going to change now about this unit? This was built in 2009. We're sitting on original furniture. Everything is like it was 14 years ago, in good condition, maintained.
And yes, this is orange, by the way. That's going to be the first thing that goes. For me, I mean, I buy a property for a few reasons. Number one, it's a place I can live in, whether it's 2 weeks a year or 3 months a year. I think it's a dream for a lot of people. How do I escape the Great White North or the terrible weather of Toronto or New York or up there? So number one is it's got to be a place that I'm comfortable spending 2 weeks or 5 months here. Yeah. Number two is if I'd like to rent it out and have somebody else kind of at least pay for it, let alone maybe make a return on investment if I'm not staying too much time here. It has to be decorated enough to make it a nice rental. Yeah. And number 3 is you'd like an investment as a long-term property. Yep. If and when I sell it 5 years from now, 8 years from now, 10 years from now, have I made a decent decent return? Keep in mind right now we're just coming off the high end of the market, so it's not a bad time to buy in the unit next door. Yeah. I don't want to sell it because I might buy it, but it's a great unit next door, well priced.
I was thinking that the concept of this episode could be trying to convince you that the next door unit is the right investment and trying to bully him into do it by getting offers from online. But I went with a different concept, which is friendly, inebriated chat just right after closing on your well-worn couches.
I'd love to tell them don't move there because all the heavy metal music and wild parties next door. But it's a nice unit, and this is a beautiful condo development. Very small. The HOA is small.
Yep.
Very friendly. So it's a nice unit.
I wanted to mention we actually had someone, Matt Stanton. Congratulations, you nailed it perfectly. If you were guessing the final negotiated price, $310,000. It seems like it would have come in after we had announced the asking price of $325,000. The unit sold at $310,000. That to me gives a great indication of about where the market is. And I've been in Junquillal my entire real estate career, and people here used to have to take a lot steeper discounts than 3% because this was still the backwoods. Nobody, if you were a buyer interested in this area, you were everybody's best friend. And it was, which property do I want to get for as cheap as possible? And now a 3% discount is, essentially what, actually you get about, you're more like 4 or something, but, the market has certainly tightened, especially when you're looking at existing construction and condos that are move-in ready, or at least this quality.
This is very typical. I looked in Belize, I looked in Dominica, I looked in Turks and Caicos, I looked here. It was very typical coming out of COVID that it was just a high market. Inventory was low. People were selling their homes.
Yep.
Demand was high. People could work remote.
Yep.
Wanted to escape the Great White North and get out of that. So, which is why, so the market here was kind of typical of elsewhere as well.
Yep, absolutely. We saw all of these condos in Villas Venado were still owned by the original builders as of 2018. Actually, really 2019 and 20. And during the pandemic closure, I listed them telling the sellers, you got to get somebody who's got an online presence. And Junquillal had been set back so dramatically in 2010 that all sorts of stuff was just sitting here. And it took, the pandemic and really sort of 22 and 23 to be at the position that we are now. I wanted to also ask, so what are some of the things you want? Sorry, we'll get back here. What are some of the things you're looking most forward to doing in Guanacaste, your outdoor, recreational activities?
Number one is I like to walk. I like to hike. And, when I was here 6 weeks ago, I walked the beach every day. Today I walked the beach, 2.5 hour walk. And it's just so serenic. Yeah. Although I have to say, when you're kind of new to Costa Rica and you walk in the beach, 2.5 hours is not a long walk because everything is interesting. Yeah. It's like the Nature Channel. The clam shell, it's so interesting. When you look back at your footprints, it looks like a toddler got loose because you're all over the place. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And you don't go very far, but when you walk longer, but it's just beautiful. Endless beaches, and at low tide, my God, can you walk straight further out and around all the points? Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you can go. How far north or south on the beaches have you tried so far? To walk straight? Yeah. Well, I haven't gone. Well, south you get to the estuary. The estuary very quickly. I haven't crossed there. I've driven to the other beaches, but north of here that's where I'm going to be on the week. Some of my weekend activities. Playa Negra, big surfing beach, beautiful hotel beach bar there. Again, we're talking about fairly rustic beaches with one nice beach bar. Then you hit the next one, Playa Blanca, big surf, 18-foot break from what the surfers say. Oh, really? I just watch, but it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm from Indiana, so I have no idea how big an 18-foot wave looks. Here we're again in our 3D world, looking at our area. These are the beaches that Chris is talking about walking down here. And the crazy thing about Costa Rica is that you can get lost in these rural areas in the mountains up here, back behind Junquillal and basically in the rest of Guanacaste. And it's safe.
There's no reason to be concerned that, out in these wild parts of Costa Rica, there are bandits or, cartels or whatever. You're going to meet old ladies, in these areas. All of the beaches being public, that to me was one of the coolest things that Costa Rica did, in that, yeah, you have no fear walking anywhere on the beach. No one can tell you to get off.
And it's pretty quiet. And all those places for sale, I've looked at a few of them. I mean, but they're all walking distance to a beach.
Yeah, you can get close to these beaches, and this is one of. Let's see if this is right at Junquillal. You can tell this is a video that a guy filmed at, whatever time of day he's standing out on, and pretty low tide video, and you can see just how wide the beach is. But not many people. And yes, this is another 360-degree video that you can watch and enjoy on CostaRicaMat.com. You're basically just standing right here in the middle of Junquillal. If you want to strap on your 3D visor, you can do that and look around, basically tilting your head. If you come to the website and you use your phone or tablet, it will work with that, what's that thing called that keeps you oriented in the right direction? The gyroscope or the
gyroscope.
Yeah. But anyway, if you log on with your phone, you can look around the beach, etc., and see what Chris is talking about. I wanted to see here if we've got any comments we should catch up on. We had the exact right final closing price. Build the tequila bar. I absolutely agree.
Who said that? Somebody I know. Tequila Pete, a good friend of mine in Turks and Caicos, he's Mr. Tequila in Turks and Caicos.
Cool.
Hey, Pete, cheers.
Mr. Tequila is joining us. How many people are in Turks and Caicos?
Well, it's a stretch of islands. In Providenciales, is the big tourism area where the beaches are, Grace Bay are pristine. About 25,000.
Okay.
I mean, it's the entire economy. It's based on tourism.
Okay, absolutely. No, totally. So thank you very much for joining us.
Local
celebrity.
He'll be here, but in the next 2 months too. Actually.
Yeah, Matt Stanton. Absolutely. You do get a full week stay, 100% free. Will include food, cleanings. What else? What else is the prize for having guests?
I don't know, but you'll be next door. Keep the noise down, please.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to go back. And address Paul Martin's question. What do you think these units sold new in 2009? And that's an interesting question because they didn't sell. The condos were built and finished in 2009. The developers actually had a couple offers at about what you paid. They turned them down because they were asking $350, $375. When they were finished in 2009, Guanacaste and Junquillal was about to be the next, I don't know, the next California. Everybody had so much frenzied anticipation that this area was going to explode that they were turning down offers at or near prices that the condos would sell for because no one saw the effects of 2009 and 10 coming. Which is, how did that happen? I don't know. But at that point in 2009, they didn't sell the condos. They held them for a decade, basically renting them out here and there. They had 8 condos to their name. They controlled the entire complex. So they could keep costs what they wanted. They could rent out basically as a single income pool to keep the thing paying for itself. And they tried different listings with people over the years, but finally in June, I think, of the travel closures here in Costa Rica in 2020, I decided to approach the sellers. And yes, Paul, they did sell one time. All of these units sold between 2021 and 2022 at lower prices than Chris paid. He's actually aware of those prices, which I'm extremely proud of, because a lot of people would try to gloss over, where real data was. But you're right, they sold cheaper. Here's an interesting question I didn't prepare you for at all. You're paying more why were you willing to do that than people were willing to pay 2 years ago for these same condos?
I mean, it's a business plan for every property I buy. So it's a business plan based on a return on investment for how much money I'm prepared to sink into the place to redecorate. I'll take a little premium for a price I'm prepared because I'm going to live here as well. It's a little longer ROI, but it's one reason I didn't buy last year because the prices were here and going that way unreasonably. I thought, as you've seen, I paid less than the market price. Prices are cooling. I could have bought the one next door at a little bit of a discount. I just happen to like this one a little bit better, but I would have bought that one if this one wasn't available.
Yeah.
I follow like Matt's channel has been amazing at tracking the prices. We are cooling. I know Caribbean market maybe a little bit better, but I don't think it's a bad investment. But the ROI might be a little bit longer.
But you're also you're going to spend how much time in this condo in your first 2 years, 3 years,
I'm planning to be here probably 3 to 5 months a year.
That's a huge component of the ROI to me. And especially when you said, I love to walk. We didn't really finish with the outdoor stuff. You've got, do you also bike or do any of that? Or is it primarily hiking?
I mean, I like snorkeling a lot. In Turks and Caicos, I'm in the water an hour or two every day.
Yeah.
I'm a patron of the Reef Association for Historical Society. I want to get involved with the turtles. The leatherneck turtle thing here. It's nice to volunteer and maybe try to return something. So I haven't found the snorkeling pulse here yet, and it's probably going to be to the north or to the south. Maybe not on my little beach here, but I do like the water.
You got to try Playa Blanca, and it's just to the north of us here. You have almost as good snorkeling as you would find taking some of the shorter charter trips out to little islands. But I was surprised because we went down to the southern part of Guanacaste. I haven't been to Blanca in a long time. We went down there to do some snorkeling, and somebody who was with me always goes at Blanca, and he said, yeah, I didn't see anything here that I don't see back at home. And it was a pretty impressive array of, puffer fish, the blue ones, the angelfish. It's got a decent collection, but it'd be tough for me to compare it to Turks and Caicos.
No, but that's nice.
But to me, this was one of the biggest reasons when, I'm talking to clients, and I was thinking, oh, wow, Chris is going to love this.
I'll give Matt a little plug here. So Playa Blanca, it's called Blanca because the sand is pure white, kind of like the Turks and Caicos, but it's a beautiful beach. Cliff overlooking. He took me there 6 weeks ago. Yeah. He's selling a nice property in Tierra Pacifica. I loved it, but a little bit big for me, but it's a beautiful beach.
Absolutely. And these sorts of outdoor experiences, you can go there and go snorkeling by yourself. I'm sure in Turks and Caicos it's possible, but in Florida, in most of the coastal regions of the world, that's becoming kind of an experience you can't have anymore, where you're really going to a isolated beach, snorkeling. Chris is also just into outdoors, hiking, etc. And to me, this is just a playground for people who want to be outdoors because.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you like holistic things, I mean, the yoga community, the organic foods, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere, and here's a coffee shop selling organic coffee and organic breakfast, vegetarian or vegan.
Yeah.
And yoga studios everywhere.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
You do yoga?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't think we had talked about that, and I was kind of embarrassed to suddenly have it come up after we've already closed on a property. I wanted to mention here, we actually have some great questions from Ace Jets. How much are property management fees to do short-term rentals? You've already contracted a property manager?
Well, so when I was buying here, one of my thoughts was, what's the market for a short-term rental? And Matt's got a great video. This is about a year ago, maybe less, because you got a colleague in Hakao, and you brought him in, and he talked about the short-term rental market, including it kind of depends if you want to host it yourself. Yeah. There's a few models in short-term rentals. Either you host it yourself and you have your own Airbnb, VRBO site, and you have boots in the ground, which is the less expensive model, or you just let me outsource the whole thing. So it kind of depends how much you stay there, but it can be in the 20 to 30% range. to host the entire thing and
Yep.
not be part of it. It's a little more complicated in Turks and Caicos because normally we create a company to buy the property and run the property management, so it shelters us from liability. But a good property management will actually file the taxes, do the paperwork, file the sales tax, and run the whole thing.
Yep.
It was part of my decision to buy here was having a really good property manager available. I won't go too much details at this stage, but if you want more details, you can always contact Matt, and I'd be happy to talk more.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very, very lucky.
Absolutely. No, we feel great about the property manager, Marianne, who, 20, 30% costs is very typical. My wife was a property manager and had 15 different Junquillal units at one point. And one of the things that I always tell clients is that even if the property management fees seem like a lot, they're never enough, because guests come to Costa Rica on their Airbnb and they're fish out of water. They don't know where the supermarket is. They don't know the local language, the currency, XYZ. They hear a sound in the night and they call their property manager because they think something might be wrong. And so rather, in the US, you might get people who very often just stay in your place, come and go, leave the keys, and they're gone. Here, it can be babysitting. Sometimes you get great clients. Sometimes they come and it's, they expect you to tour guide, help them through every possible obstacle, etc.
You need boots on the ground. I mean, a few people I know around will run their own Airbnb site. They'll have a lockbox and they have their own speed dial of your ACC guy, your pest control. But boots on the ground.
Yeah.
In a third world or somewhere else, it's golden. I was blessed because in Turks and Caicos, Heath, if you're watching, beautiful property manager. And him and his wife decorated and fixed it up, and we become good friends. But like you said, I'm a co-host on Airbnb, and ping, 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 ping. Where do I dump my trash, and where's this? And I got a big spider in my bedroom, or whatever it is. You can't do that.
Oh, absolutely.
In Toronto or New York or
100%.
Indiana.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's great to hear you say that about Heath, your property manager in Turks and Caicos. I mean, a huge component of your Costa Rica success can be whether or not you make that relationship with a manager. And if you're expecting to make incredible ROI and put your money to the absolute best use, you probably shouldn't buy Costa Rica properties if you don't want to invest your own energy in making them work. And you want to be hands-off. You don't necessarily need this income from the property. And he's going to spend 3 to 5 months in the condo, hiking around, actually enjoying this area. So that's, you're a perfect buyer.
Remember your backup plan too, because right now for the next year or two, I'm going to spend 3 to 5 months here. But if I get distracted, I go somewhere else. Maybe I'm going to spend 2 months here, or maybe I don't spend time here. Your backup plan as a condo owner is a long-term rental.
Yeah.
And long-term rentals, especially at this price point in the market, we're not, it's not $1 million condo. Long-term rentals are easy to find.
Yep.
These places are, same with Turks and Caicos, in high demand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a backup plan, it's not like if I'm not coming down here or you're not coming down here, oh no, what do I do?
No. And especially Guanacaste is going through a moment where there are so many more people who want to live here than can afford to buy a property here, that there's that perfect disparity. In retrospect, anybody who owns 8 long-term rental units within driving distance to a private school right now is making incredible ROI in Costa Rica. Too bad we're, years late, etc. I had completely forgotten to mention, we do have a Rager of the Week.
Oh my God.
And we've got a doozy. I feel bad because we should have brought that up at the very beginning, but there's so much going on today. We will get to that before we conclude here. I wanted to thank Ace Jets, Doug, Matt, Tequila Pete, Claude, Paul, John, et cetera, for all tuning in. John, I did want to ask you, I was thinking about giving Chris the gift certificate that technically you won many years ago. I think there was a contest for something else. I still have that gift certificate in my office, John. Yeah, no.
Well, actually, you should fly down to Costa Rica, meet Costa Rica Matt, look at the property next door and the one at Tierra Pacifica, and then fulfill the gift certificate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was even going to, gift certificates in this small community. The gift certificate is actually a piece of paper in plastic that I'm sure has no electronic record. This isn't a massive $40 million restaurant where they've got, accounting systems, et cetera. This is something I was going to have to call the owners and say, do you remember selling me this gift certificate and can I redeem it? So anyway, John, get down to Costa Rica. Absolutely be sure to redeem your $100 gift certificate to Mundo Milo. I can't even remember at the time what you did correctly. I think we had trivia night or something. If we have any more questions for Chris, who has just bought Villas Venado #2, be sure to post them. We're always here live on Fridays, noon, with real estate information, unless I do any reasonable amount of physical exercise beforehand, and then I can miss the episode. Before we pull up to the Rager of the Week, I wanted to mention again, if you watch and want to help me out, just hit that like button or comment, make any kind of little commentary you like. Thank Chris for his time and thank Chris for closing on his condo today.
Hit a like, because after 18 months, Matt has made my dream come true. So hit the like.
Absolutely. We'll have to do a revisit with Chris maybe a month or 6 weeks from now, because he's in town. He'll be living in this condo for 2 months, and on these you'll have these couches until you figure this out.
Yeah, no, these will not, these couches will not be orange 2 months from now. I guarantee that. I can't guarantee anything else.
So stay tuned to see the couch improvements. Hopefully we'll be sitting on something way more. This has been absolutely comfortable, but I can feel, in the fibers, 14 years of accumulation to some degree. So it's probably time. I do want to bring up our Rager of the Week before we go here. Now, for some of you, you may remember, I might try and pull this up here while I'm talking. I did a little video where I was marketing an equestrian center. This is one of our brokerage's exclusive listings. And the equestrian center, they're good friends of mine, so I wanted to pitch into the marketing, even though in actuality, it's not my exclusive listing. So I went out to do the little video for the property. I want to try and bring it up here. And let's see, we're almost there. We are on the video that is the source of this Rager. We'll try and bring in the
Guanacaste, Costa Rica is an amazing place for horse lovers. Today, I'm happy to present one of our brokerage's coolest listings, which is an equestrian center located.
Matt Rosensteel, with all his equestrian experience, jumps over this advanced jump. And I said it was going to be a very advanced jump at the beginning of the video. Well, apparently, one of my viewers took issue with my definition of a very advanced jump over a, what do you call that thing? A vault? The rails.
No, a fence. I don't know.
A fence. He wrote, this is Dr. Morgan. And by the way, I want to know if we're talking to a medical doctor or if your PhD is in any other field. If you're willing to respond, I would love to also cover this comment next week again. Dr. Morgan wrote, dude, it's laughable. That is not, quote, an extremely advanced jump, as you put it. You don't even know how to properly hold the reins. This is a joke. And the absolutely hilarious thing about this comment is that, yes, 100% this was a joke. And if people watch my channel for even 5 minutes, they could probably get a pretty good idea that I was never about to ride a horse over one of those things, over the fence or the jump, etc. Yes, it was a joke and it was meant to be. And I definitely also find it pretty laughable that people are watching YouTube for real estate videos in Costa Rica and criticizing how the hosts hold the reins. Dr. Morgan, thank you very much for being my Rager of the Week. It's always a pleasure to have people who, you know, I just don't have anything more productive to do with their time. I'm going to take riding lessons and get better so that in the future...
Just don't miss a Friday.
I know, that's the thing.
It's not like tennis lessons. We need you here on a Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. You need me here on Fridays. I will be here on Fridays. That is why I used a stunt double to jump over whatever kind of jump that was, why I would have never ridden a horse that was jumping through the air. After all, I can't even hold the reins properly, as you so pointedly indicated. Thanks for joining me, folks.